Hello, welcome. I am back with the 100-day project and it is day 55. Day 55, can you imagine? Anyway, I am here to do a fold-out booklet, and Tina from Shabby Doodah saw this from Eve from Scrapbook with me. So I'll have all those videos again in my description box, and you can go watch their videos and what they've done. Now they've decorated because they did do things a little bit differently than what I'm going to do today. Let me just show you quickly the booklet that we're going to work on. So this, it just opens up and then it has a pocket here and a pocket here. So you can either glue this to your journal page or just clip it in, or even just take this flap and fold it over a page and then just let it hang there. So there's lots of options. Again, you know, same drill. You can even do a belly band, all kinds of stuff. Anyway, I want to tell you about the papers that I've used today. These papers are from Tuke's craft table. Tuke asked me to be on her design team, and I'm very excited about that. So I have some of her papers here. She sent me the files and I started printing just a couple because I couldn't wait to play with them. So this one, it's kind of fold up and you can't see the entire beauty of the paper. This one is the Blue Chataue. I will work with these papers more and I can show you the kits for those. But I'll show you the papers that I want to use for today's booklets. These two, it's a tall, skinny journal. It is the vintage Shabby tall, skinny journal, so it's kind of hard to get the whole thing in on camera, but it's just beautiful. This will use a couple of pages from her September blue kit. I love this kit. Everything is blue. I love this blue. It's just such a beautiful blue color. And of course I have them upside down. And then I just printed a couple from her end paper set 2. This is set 2, and I think there's like 16 end papers, and the one is prettier than the other one, so it was hard to pick. But I needed you know, a base paper and a paper for the flap for this project, so I thought maybe I can mix and match these kits. So I didn't print all of them because, like I said, I couldn't wait to start using them. And this is her blue patent kit 1. And again, I just printed a couple off from that kit. So let's look at the papers and decide what we're going to use for our booklet. So for the booklet, you need a full sheet or almost full sheet A4, and then you can use scraps for the flaps and this decorative part, or use 2 sheets of the same paper. It all depends on what look you're going for. I definitely want to use the blue papers. I saw it and I totally fell in love with this kit. It is so pretty. Oh, maybe we can use those 2 together. This for the flap and this for the base. There's one set. Let's use some of the end papers. Let's do those 2. How many shall we make today? And this, let's do this one. I think this is what her new kit is, the vintage Shabby. She has a tall journal as well as just the regular size journals. Let's see if we can find something clipping. That will work with this. Shall we do the red? Choices. Let's do that. Then we have 4. I think that should be... I think we'll have time for 4, hopefully. Let's see. These are easy to make, but they do take a little longer, especially if you're going to use closures and stuff like that. I am simply going to start with just making bases, and maybe we'll decorate one. And then when I get to use them in my journal, I'll decide. Just because these papers are so pretty, I don't even think they need a lot of decoration. And then I'll decide on the closures, depending on if I'm paper clipping them in or if I am going to glue them in. So we'll start by just folding the paper in half and just make a slight little, don't make a definite crease, but just a little crease there so you know where the center of your paper is, and then just slightly overlap that center. And then this one, because you're going to fold these 2 flaps together to create a pocket. Okay, so you'll just have a slight overlap there. I hope you can see, and those 2 will be glued together to form the pocket. The next step is to go in and these just fold in the corners, but don't fold them over or way into the crease, just slightly off from that crease, just so when you're folding it over, it doesn't pucker. So that's why you don't fold it all the way to the crease. Okay. And this one too. And again, you can obviously vary the sizes of these pockets by changing the size of your base paper. So if you have scrap papers, you can definitely use them and just change the size of your pocket. Okay, so the next step, I am going to cut these little flaps off just because I feel it's unnecessary bulk that I don't need. So Tina didn't, and Eve, I don't think Eve did this either. I just feel like if you don't need it, get rid of it, because you know, every little bit of paper, it sounds like a dumb thing, but every small little piece adds to the bulk in your journal, and that's what creates an alligator mouth. Okay, so we'll just glue these down. And I fold these over. You can cut the entire rectangle off, obviously, but I'm folding them over again just to reinforce that pocket. So when, you know, 5 years down the line, your pocket is still good, you can easily take things in and out without being scared of tearing it. But that is just something that I like to do. So the next step Tina and Eve did is they glued this down. I am not going to do that because I find that a little bit finicky, a little just a bit difficult to get everything in there, because let me cut this and then I'll show you what they did, and you can go and watch their videos and decide if you know how you want to do this. I am just going to fold this so it would fit in between those 2 folds that I've already created, and that just gives me a line to cut the paper for the flaps. So when you look at the example, this paper is going to be those 2 pieces. Okay, so what Tina and Eve did, they glued that fold shut, and then they put glue on here, and then they slide this in and glue it. I just found that once you have the glue on there, it's kind of hard to get it in there. So I am going to do this step before I glue my pocket shut. And so for the first one, you just need to make sure that when these are folded, that you cover everything. If you cut it too short, it would show a white piece there. So this little piece here should simply be big enough to cover all the white pieces there. Then this one will form this flap. So again, you want it in, if I make it this long, this long, it's going to show white, so obviously it needs to go down all the way there. And I'm going to flip this over. Tina doubled this entire piece. I'm not going to do that again, just for the sake of bulk. So I'm not going to decide on a flap, the size of my flap, and then I'm going to cut it there. And again, if this sounds too complicated, but we'll do it more than once so you can see. Yeah, this is my flap piece. Sorry, I just thinking, what did I do here? Anyway, that is my flap piece. And I'm just spreading the glue a little bit here and making sure it's glued down. So now we're going to glue everything down. I'm gluing the flap in here. And obviously you can use glue stick for this, and maybe with the second set I'll use glue stick. It's just faster this way because you don't have to get out the glue page and everything else, but I do like the glue stick as well. Anyway, so this again needs to go in here. And so on this side, I don't want to glue it like that or even like that. I want a little piece of the fold over to be underneath that. So I'm just going to decide where do I need the glue, and it's just above that fold there. Yeah, so this was a little bit a more complicated pocket than Tina normally does. Okay, goes in there. And again, I'm just spreading my glue just because I'm using wet glue, making sure everything is glued down. So now I'm going to fold the pocket close, and we're going to put some glue on this side and glue on that side. Okay. Then we're going to fold the, oh, my flap is very wet. It's definitely maybe better to use, I'm going to use the glue stick next time just because it dries faster, or it doesn't give you that soggy feeling to the paper. Anyway, that is your flap. And then this will be folded in, and just again, don't fold it all the way to that flap because then your pocket's going to pucker. Just a little shy of that fold. There's my fold, so just shy of the fold. Bring it down, and then we'll just make sure all the folds are nice and flat. And then this, I hope it's gonna cut because it's still very wet, but I'm just going to use my corner rounder to round that corner. And that is your booklet. So you'll have the two pockets here, the flap, and you can use a policy closure, or like I did with this one, I just used a label that was printed on cardstock to keep this shut. I think the closure is part of the decorating your envelopes. I'm not going to put closures on all of them today, but when I put it in the journal, I will. So the next thing Tina and Eve did was they added pockets here. This isn't big enough. This might be big enough. A pocket here and then another pocket here. I don't think I'm going to add pockets as well, because this is for me already a fairly bulky kind of pocket, even if I just paper clip it into my journal. And you will add things in these pockets still, and that will add more bulk. So I don't think I will add some pockets in, but maybe when I get to my journal I might decide to do that. If I send this as Happy Mail, I will definitely add maybe a pocket here so I can stuff this in with more things for my Happy Mail item. I think this is a great project for a Happy Mail. And maybe when we decorate, we can make one for Happy Mail. Let's see. Anyway, so that is your pocket. So let's do another one, because at the beginning I watched it a couple of times just because I felt like I'm not 100% sure. There's lots of folds and lots of sliding and all kinds of things, but it's actually not that complicated. It just feels at the beginning to be complicated. So again, I'm using the vintage Shabby Toll journal. This is her new kit, Duke's new kit. I'm just gonna do like a just slightly, I just need to know where the middle is. And the only reason you need to know where the middle is just to make this a nice V shape here. If you're off, the V would sit like this, for instance. So I just think it's a good idea to start off with the middle. We're just going to fold it just slightly overlapping that middle little crease there, and again overlapping these two because we need to glue them together. And then we're going to fold the corners in just shy of the folds again. Cut it a little smaller, my triangles. Okay, and let's use the glue stick. So I'm going to fold that over. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and create the flap. And this one, we picked this one from the end paper set. Is it end paper set 2? And there's 16 of these papers. I didn't even, there's a set 1, and they are absolutely beautiful. Okay. Fold that over just to get my cutting line here. And then I'm going to just measure or eyeball where I want to cut it to cover that white piece there. And for my flap, I'm doing the same thing. Again, just making sure I have no white pieces there. And then I'm going to just, so that is where the fold will be for the flap. And I'm going to make my flap a little smaller and fold it over and just cover it so that fold where my flap is going to fold is past that fold. I hope that makes sense. It sounds, you can, if you want to make it easier, just double this up. Maybe the next one I'll just double it up, and then you can decide if that bulk really makes a difference for you. Maybe it doesn't. Oh, I need to fold this over first and then glue it to the other thing is, maybe you don't feel like you need to double this up. I don't think I do, because I am using this is 28-pound paper, but I'm just thinking for when you open your booklet, it would be nice to have that flap not white. And of course, the other thing you can do is you can use double-sided paper, and then you don't have to do any of this. You cover this white piece in the middle of your booklet. That's another option, and that's even less bulk. I just thought I will stick to as close as possible to what Tina was doing. And maybe I should just glue within the folds. That would be a good idea as well. And straight there. That's better, I think. So our next step is simply to put glue on here and glue there in the middle. And then you're one fold away of finishing your pocket. Okay, and then I'm just going to see where my crease is and make sure, I'm just going to glue that really good well, and just make sure again that I just fold this shy from, don't line it up with those, just fold it shy from where your flap will be folded in. And again, it's just to make sure that your pocket doesn't pucker when you fold it in. The other thing with doubling this up, if you decide to make a policy closure, it will just reinforce that flap. And I think I folded this not straight again, but that can be fixed. And I'm going to just round my corners. And my pocket is done, and just look at how pretty that is. This one I definitely will not glue on, because that is just too pretty. Anyway, so that's another one. I don't think I'm going to mass make these, just to kind of, because I probably could, but it will take too long. So we're just going to make a couple of these, and I'll just do the steps again. So the more you see it, the easier it will become, and you might understand. So this time I'm going to just double the flap and not try to save on that little bit of bulk. And then that might be a little less things to remember. So we're just folding in half. I mean, it's honestly, you're creating a tube, and then from the tube you're just adding some elements of interest. So like that, and then we do our flaps. what a great idea. So it almost reminds me again on a variation of the Paddy wallets. It has a lot like that. I can't remember who did those first. Oh, I can't remember, but it's just more or less the same idea. Just the pocket on the inside looks different. Okay. So yes, I can't wait to make a journal with these kits, with Duke's kits. I have a scrap pieces here. Oh. Excuse me, I just had to grab this. I had this scrap piece that I've played with previously, and I just need to cut this smaller. Let's use a scrap piece and share, keep the bigger piece for another project that because I definitely want to make a journal with these papers, because they all go so well together. You can definitely mix and match the kits for sure, and add them to other kits as well. So that's for my one piece. And then this one, let's see if I double it up. It will give me a small flap. So maybe I'll just double it up halfway, just because I want my flap bigger and I don't want to cut a second piece of paper. I have the scrap piece of paper, so let's use the scraps when we can. Okay, and we're going to glue, get a new paper. That is just a little too sticky by now. And I didn't cut that straight, so we'll clean that up. And then let's see where we need to glue this so we don't have any white pieces showing. And I think what I'm going to do is just here, just add a little bit of art glitter glue to make sure that my piece of paper sticks really well to my base, where I'm going to make the fold for the flap. Okay, and then we'll glue this down. And I'm just going to make sure my creases are all nice and sharp. And then this, just fold your flap over. And then we're going to bring the booklet over and fold it flat. So definitely, I think, according to Tina's standards, a little for mass making. She makes complicated pockets sometimes for her journals, but I think for the mass making, she's trying to keep pockets and things simple, just to make it easy to make 5 or 6 of the same thing. So this one is definitely one of her more complicated projects. So let's do one last one. And then we'll decorate one. Just look how pretty this is. It's 2 different kits, but it looks like they were created together. We'll start by getting the center. fold it over. The four corners. So yes, I've been creating so many different pockets. It's amazing about at how many pockets people have thought of, because obviously these pockets started, somebody had an idea and made the pocket, showed it maybe on a video, and then the next person comes in with a variation on the idea, so you have another kind of pocket. So I'm so happy I'm doing this, because I have to admit pockets are I always kind of just stick to the same kind of pockets. Very boring, I know, but you know, you stick to what you know and what you feel comfortable with. So this has definitely made me think about pockets more, because I used to concentrate on the journaling cards and the tags, which is good too, but when you think about it, those are usually hidden inside a pocket until you pull it out. So your showstopper when you turn the page is actually your pocket and not necessarily the tag or the journaling card, unless the tag or journaling card is just paper clipped in. So I'm very happy that I'm learning all of these new kinds of pockets, and that I'll have them. One of each goes into my idea book. So at the end of this, I'll already have 100 ideas in my idea book. Just think about that. And then I will also have X amount of extra ephemera to use in my journals. So there, we're just going to make sure that it will cover all the white on this side. And then on this side, we need to make sure the white is covered. And then we have a flap piece here that's big enough. And the other reason why I think you don't need to double it up totally, because then you can use some scraps if you have big enough scraps. Okay, so then we just need to glue the flap down. Oh, I'm doing it the same way again. The flap should go this way. So that is definitely just, you know, just keep thinking of what needs to show, where it needs to be glued down, stuff like that. I think that is what kind of got me when I started doing these pockets first, is just folding it back and forth for this flap part actually. And again, I'm just going to add a little bit of art glitter glue in here. Okay. And then this one. Okay. Our pockets are almost done. We can decorate soon. So I hope you understand how to make this pocket. I mean, you've seen it a couple of times, and maybe you got it with the first one. Well, you know, the first one we made, because it's not that complicated. Okay, and just fold everything down nicely, and I'll do my flap first. I'm just doing the flap first every time, just because then I can see where to make that, how far I need to fold that bottom part in. There's my crease, and then I can see where I need to stop with that so it doesn't pucker. And just look at how pretty that looks. You almost don't need a thing to decorate this with. And of course, again, we can use our decorative paper clips that we've made with you can make paper clips with anything on. I've decided I am obsessed with making decorative paper clips now. I don't know, I want to put a paper clip on everything. Anyway, so let's look at our booklets that we've made. So we made this one with the end papers and the blue papers. And this one, just look at how pretty that is. And I just love that you can combine it. And of course, these will be beautiful again with music paper. You don't need scrapbook paper or decorative paper. You can definitely do it with music paper or book pages. Or even if Tina did the flaps in music paper, that was beautiful too. So there's lots and lots of ways that you can change this up. And you can obviously, if you glue it in, you can glue it this way or that way. And then otherwise just paper clip it in. And so let's do this one. And let's add a pocket for it. No, that's not the right color. I was looking for maybe more scraps, but I don't. So let's, for the pocket, I'm thinking if you want to add a pocket, you can do two separate pieces of paper, but I'm thinking I'm just going to do one piece of paper and more or less that big. And it can go in that way. Sometimes these end papers in the books, especially the older books, they're so pretty. I'm just going to fold it in half, just so it would go into that crease there. And then all you need to do is put, and again, you could fold that over if you want to reinforce the pocket, but I think this paper is that I've printed on is strong enough to carry an extra pocket here. And I'm just going to put it in like that. Okay, just have glue on my fingers. And there is your pocket. So if you're sending happy mail, you can add more things in here as your happy mail. So you'll have a pocket here and a pocket here. And then I'm just adding random things in here so you can see where there'll be things that you can stuff in. It'll close up. And you can obviously add way more in here. There is a lot of room to add things. And then you can go ahead and decorate this pocket. I just grabbed a couple of things for closures. And so I grabbed this paper clip that we did the other day with the pocket in it. So you can, without even decorating this, as soon as you add a decorative paper clip, it's almost already decorated. I think that just looks pretty, and you almost don't need to do a thing to it. Or if you want to paper clip it onto your page this way, you can do that too as a closure. But let's see if we add maybe like those circle closures. Obviously a policy closure is a beautiful option too. And I just have this piece of sari silk here. Let's just add like a Tina style ruffle on here, since we're doing mass making Shabby Dabby Doodah style. She always makes ruffles like this with just her glue gun, and just quickly ruffle it up. If you want to make ruffles and you do not have a sewing machine, or maybe you don't want to use your sewing machine on paper, then this is a great option. And I just love how it's just almost a messy ruffle. Okay, I'll just put that away and I don't burn myself, because I have done that before. And then this can just go, we'll just glue it on. I was thinking maybe I should use the glue gun again, it would just dry faster, but let's use the art glitter glue. So when it's open, it will look like this. And maybe we can add, I don't like that, maybe the yellow is not the thing. No, and I mean, I don't even think you need to add anything else. It's just beautiful the way it is, because you're using beautiful papers. I don't think you necessarily always have to add a lot of things. So this one, let's just decorate this one quickly as well, just because we have a bit of time. And I have a sticker printed, or a label printed on cardstock. So I'm thinking it's just an easy, fast way to make a closure as a label printed on cardstock. And this little birdie will go well with that. Still have a little bit of Swiss dot here. Again, left over from a different project. Oops. Let's glue this on and it can dry. So what Tina usually does when she makes these closures, that's just a trick I learned from her through this whole 100-day project idea, is if you want this closure, hold it onto the flap, and then you know where to add the glue. So the flap will have room to go underneath that. So I'm just going to leave that to dry, and let's decorate this while we're busy. So I also have this, that is a pretty stamp, but I don't think the color is quite exactly what I want. We can put the Swiss dot there, it's just left over from a different project. And shall we add just another label? Yeah, I think that's enough. Or do we want, no, I don't want the black. I am just going to add a little bit of, there it is. Didn't put it on the right spot. Already breaking my own rules. Just going to add a little bit of ink. And let's just do vintage photo. And all I want to do is just those little pieces of white that I couldn't get to, like there, just to kind of blend it into my background. Because it's going to sit on this vanilla background here. I don't necessarily ink everything. Just sometimes I feel like, okay, the blue just, the white, not the blue, the white shows up too much, and then I will ink it. Or if I really want to age something, I ink. But inking, I think, is a personal preference. I do like the look of inking and the aging of it. It's beautiful. I don't know. I just sometimes do not ink. But that's a personal choice. And maybe if I put the label right side up, that would be great too. And that little bit of Swiss dot, maybe I'll just add a small dab here just to keep it from flapping too much, but I don't want to glue it down totally, I do want it to have a bit of dimension here. See, but then it won't, it will stick there. And then you just put your flap in there and it's done. So let's just add this paper clip to this one. And just like that, we almost decorated 3. So there is a couple of the fold-out booklets done, and they were, I saw these on Tina from Shabby Dabby Doodah, but she was inspired or saw them on Scrapbooking with Me. Eve made them on her channel. So I'll link all of those videos in my description box, and you can watch their videos too. They've made these a little different than I did. So for the day 100 giveaway, I haven't forgotten about that. It is, so with the 100-day or day 100 giveaway will be at the last day of the 100-day project. We'll have another giveaway. We did a giveaway on day 50, and now we'll do another one on day 100, and you will receive 50 pieces of ephemera that I have made during the 100-day project, and it will be the decorated pieces and maybe a couple extra thrown in if there's small things, like when we did the yo-yos. I just added more than 1 yo-yo because they are so small and dainty. So you might even get more than 50 pieces of ephemera ready-made, decorated, and you can just use them in your journals. So the names for today is Anne and Peggy. I'll have your names and last names in the description box, so if you want to check if that's you, you can look that up in the description box. So thank you, and thank you for these beautiful, beautiful pages, and asking me to join your team. I'm very excited about that, and I hope all of you have a wonderful day. I'll be back tomorrow with another 100-day project, and just have a great day. See you. Bye.